Today we're starting a minute early because I like to be punctual, of course. But whether or not that's actually going to matter, I don't know. We'll see how many people actually want to watch this. And right now I'm creating some sort of streamception by watching myself stream. So this is honestly very interesting to myself. And yet I don't know what to talk about until anyone gets into the stream. So that's something that, is important to recognize. I gotta share this link over here. So that's something, and gotta get the word out that I've gone live. And then, Control C, copy that. Feels so good to be on PC. Pitch it, what's going on, man? You're first in line today. Okay, you are MVP for tonight. Okay. We'll see what kind of Discord squad turns up. Yeah, you are the first one again. Seriously. So, props to you, dude. Basically, what we're going to get going over here is some sort of discussion about Intel and their antics. Okay. Desmond, what's going on, man? How you doing? We got two people in here. We're going to try to get more people in here before we get into the main course of today. Kyre, what's going on, man? LOL, who cares really about being first in all honesty? I don't know. Some people like being first. It can go either way. Some people have different values over different things, so I'm not gonna judge. All right, Western Digital Blue, 1 terabyte. 7,200 RPM, $45 at Amazon. That's a pretty standard price. Most 1 terabyte drives are around $50. So I mean, it's okay. It's not bad. It's not the best deal I've seen. I mean, 1 terabyte drives usually just stay around $50. So yeah. Well, we're gonna get into the main course today. We're gonna talk about Intel 9th Gen and the craziness they have pulled off, the kind of stunt that they've pulled off, which is I don't know if you guys heard of this, but Intel used some sort of publication agency or whatever, I don't know what the official title or name of it is, and sourced them to provide benchmarks and published as official benchmarks on the Intel website like more than a week in advance before reviewers actually get their hands on samples and can publish their reviews, which is you can imagine what that's like. But the blue is always quality. Yeah, the blue is quality. And so is the Seagate Barracuda. They're both quality. Intel is desperate. They have gotten very desperate, in my opinion. Intel is running out of steam. I'm just waiting to see the improvements with Zen 2 on 7 nanometer CES 2019. Should give us some indication, or give us some indicator on what Ryzen 3000 will be like. That company also ran the AMD CPU at only 4 cores. Yeah, I'm sure you guys have watched that news too, so I'm glad you guys have caught yourselves up on this news, so that's really good to see. But yes, I'm excited for 7 nanometer as well. We'll see what that's like and how they're going to carry that out and what kind of clock speeds we're going to get, which is really important right now because Intel has them at clock speeds. But even so, Ryzen's IPC is just really good. And they're not even at really high clock speeds, in my opinion. I posted in Coalition Discord. Oh, thanks, Desmond. I appreciate that, man. But CES 2019 should be really interesting because AMD is supposedly going to be talking about their Navi 7 nanometer based architecture GPUs, which can definitely compete with the higher end 10 series cards if they pull it off right. I don't think they'll be at an RTX level in terms of rasterization. Excuse me. I don't think they would go towards the ray tracing route just because they don't have that kind of money just to kind of invest in some sort of beta technology right now. So that wouldn't really make sense. But the Ryzen 3000 series, I think, has a lot of potential behind them, especially if they're rocking 7 nanometer at like over 4 gigahertz. If you have like a Ryzen 3700 at 3.4 or 3.9 to 4.7 gigahertz with a 7 nanometer architecture, that will be just something else. That would be insane. Now, one of the downsides to Ryzen, of course, is the way the cores are designed, having 2 separate quad cores attached on the same core or glued together, whatever you want to call it. And it relies on the infinity fabric between both cores to, or both clusters of cores to communicate with each other. And that's why faster RAM is always recommended with the Ryzen. Christian, what's going on, man? How you doing? We're talking about Intel and AMD right now. Big stuff happening. Big stuff. So that's one of the only downsides to Ryzen is just that caching. But if they can fix that and get both the cores on the same die without them being glued together, that would be really nice. And have improved IPC with the higher clock speeds and the 7 nanometer architecture, you're building a beast that Intel just isn't ready to compete with, because the Ryzen 2700 already competes so well, and it's at such a fantastic price point that there is just nothing Intel really has to compete with it at the same price tier in terms of all-around performance. Now, if we're just talking strictly gaming and you want 10 FPS over the 2700, sure, you're going to go out and get an 8600K or 8700K, sure. But in terms of everything else, the 2700 is just leading the charge right now amongst all the other CPUs on the market. And that really just goes to show where Intel is right now in the market, which is really interesting to see, because I did not expect to see this. Even with the release of Ryzen, I thought they were going to be like right at Intel. I didn't see them surpassing Intel or just being at the same level. But Intel has been trying to catch up so much that they have actually fallen behind with how much they've been trying to catch up. And it's just like, it's almost the same as comparing the Marvel Cinematic Universe to the DC Universe, whereas Marvel has their stuff together, right? And they are curating and cultivating their products, versus the DCEU, which are just shoving out movies trying to catch up to Marvel, and they're paying the price and actually falling behind because of it. Alexarin, too true. What's going on, man? How you doing? So today we're talking about Intel. All right, so let's go over some prices, okay? This is going to be interesting because the prices are going to be what's really dictating where this is going. So, yeah. As far as pricing goes, we have the i9 9900K at $488. So close to $500. That's if you can get it at $500. I don't know if you guys remember, but last generation 8th gen Intel processors released, there was some sort of shortage, and there was major price gouging. You know, a lot of the 8700Ks were supposed to be like $360, but they were $420, so almost $100 more expensive because of the price gouging. So we are not going to see 9900Ks at $488 for a very long time. So that already is just going to be really depressing. You know, Kyra says ray tracing can be done by AMD. AMD GPUs have always been great at computing. RT cores and tensors just compute ray tracing algorithms really efficiently. Vega on 7 nanometer was demoed ray tracing at Computex. Yeah, I mean, I could see them going towards the ray tracing path. I don't think they would market it nearly as heavily as NVIDIA, simply because they don't want to push everyone in that direction and not have the games to actually back that up. But they are fantastic computational pieces of hardware. That's why they were so popular for mining. AMD, in my opinion, has always made the better card on specs, but drivers and everything else just were never up to par with what NVIDIA has already established. That's why NVIDIA cards have always been pulling ahead, and that's why AMD's fine wine technology has really proven true, as like an R9 290X can perform the same as an RX 480 or 580, which is absolutely crazy to see a card that old competing with cards of today's measure. So that just goes to show the kind of cards they are building, and should speak on behalf on where they are in terms of quality and the type of card that they're actually making. So yeah, that's important. Anyways, back to the 9900K, right? We have a $500 CPU. It's probably going to be close to $600 because of price gouging. I'm just saying. Sure, 8 cores, 16 threads, great. Now I understand the 1800X when it initially released was $500 MSRP, if I remember that correctly. Maybe not MSRP, but it was released at $500. I think it was like $480, right? That was over a year ago. And now Intel's trying to release an 8-core, 16-threaded beast at around $500, just like the 1800X, but it's not the same because we already have 8-core, 16-thread CPUs for much less money and with very competitive IPC, and Intel is not competing in the same price tier right now. They're competing what happened over a year ago. So what they're trying to do here is not lining up, in my opinion. Jorge says, good night. I hear you from here, Argentina. I'm so excited about the new Intel series. Very bad for high prices. Add that with import taxes. Oh yeah, impossible to update this time. Yeah. I'm excited for these CPUs. No doubt they're going to be great. They're going to have very good clock speeds, but the price is just not going to be right for what you can already get. Isaiah, what's going on, man? Evan, how you doing? Evan says, I'm going to get a new GPU. I'm deciding between a 1050 Ti for 150 or 1060 for 256. I can't decide. What are your thoughts? I would probably just go used with the GPU because you can get a 1060 for around $170 used and relatively new. So I would just go that route if you're not comfortable with used GPUs. Try to find a deal on a 1060 because the 1050 Ti just it gets outperformed by a lot of lower tier used cards. Desmond says, I would like to have one of the old AMD 200 series GPUs, way better than I did have on my Pentium D Beast that died 2 days ago. Oh, I'm sorry to hear about that, man. And you know what's funny is I actually just got an R9 290X and an R9 280X in the mail just a couple days ago. If you guys want, I'll break those out and I'll show you guys my 290X and 280X if you guys want to see those. Chris, what's going on, man? How you doing, bud? Glad to see you in here, hopping in between each other's streams. All right. Kyer says Intel is milking every dollar while they fix their 10 nanometer node issue. That's also true. The fabrication costs have to be paid somehow, and Intel fanboys are going to buy due to their obsessive need for a higher FPS. Yeah, that's also true. Some people will just purchase their products based on FPS alone, which is, you know, that's a fair metric to judge your purchase by, but a lot of people don't consider the value beyond that. Even with just, you know, just general workloads, I mean, Ryzen will outperform a lot of Intel chips in almost every other way, aside from FPS. You know, I'm not going to be a fanboy for either Intel or AMD. They just want your money, obviously. But in terms of who's providing the better value, Intel is just trying to play this catch-up game and milk a lot of money from people with the 8-core 16-thread CPU for $500 when I can grab an 8-core 16-thread 2700X with respectable clock speeds and very good IPC for $300 and something. Almost $150 less than this is going to be, and God knows what this is going to be when it actually releases and we see all the price gouging, which happens every single time. They never have enough processors. In fact, they're actually low on processors. Their wafer production has gone down and they have a shortage of CPUs, and there's going to be a price gouge across 8th gen and 9th gen chips, which is really terrible, and something that's everyone's going to pay for if they're gonna put their money in hard-earned cash out, regardless of what that price gouge is. Would be funny if your real name was J, middle name was D. Yo, JD. SJ, what's going on, man? Might check in later, spending some time with the lady. Hey, man, no worries. Enjoy your time with the lady. Tom, what's going on? I found a GTX 1070 Ti used for 180 pounds. Seems too good to be true. No, that is actually what they're going for. If I'm correct, 180 pounds is around $250 US. If I'm correct, I could be wrong. If that's true, that's the price they're going on in the US. So that's actually a very fair price and sounds legit to me. What do you think about the new Google Pixel 3s? Personally, I like the non-XL one because more comfortable for hands, and it also has no notch, but the XL has a notch. I haven't honestly paid any attention to Google Pixels. I stopped paying attention to Google Pixel after the second one. It just seems like they're just following the Apple trends. Even though they're strong competitors against Apple, they have followed a lot of trends, which I don't particularly agree with, and I have no interest in them anymore until they prove a product worth money. So that's my opinion on them. Will 1080 work with an MSI motherboard? Yes. Gabriel, what's going on, man? Yeah, 180 pounds is $236. Yeah, that's what a lot of them are going for in the US, so I would recommend that. That is a good price. Saludos de Argentina. What's going on? Is that Horacio? What's going on, man? So, yeah, I have some of those R9 GPUs behind me, and I'll show you guys that in a little bit. Well, let's talk about the 9700K here, because this is actually pretty interesting, because the 8700K, as we see here, is $360, 6 cores, 12 threads, and then we have a 9700K at $375 with 8 cores and 8 threads. So less threads, more physical cores. That comes down to which application is going to utilize more threads, versus more cores. So I don't think the performance is going to be too different. Depending on what the application is, you might see significant increases or decreases in performance. FPS wise, I don't think there will be much of a difference. It, again, will depend on the game. And now we're charging $15 more for less threads. The clock speed is a little bit higher, but that's fine, I guess. I don't know. I'm not too particularly crazy about the 9700K. I think this should definitely be if we were going 8 cores, 8 threads, that should be like the i5s, right? And then they should be charging like $325 if they're doing 8 cores and 8 threads. I don't know. I just think it's all backwards compared to what Ryzen's already offering. 9600K, $262. It's just a refresh, pretty much, because the 8600K over here is only $4 less. We have slightly higher clock speeds of up to 300 megahertz on the boost frequency. So, yay. I mean, I'm not really excited about it. The 9600K is not really going to perform any bit better because, I mean, you can already overclock the. I mean, my 8600K can go like 5.2 gigahertz and beyond really easily and not get too hot, surprisingly. The i9 is soldered, so that's great, but I don't think it's worth that $488 price tag. I think it's surprising they kept it at 95 watts. That's impressive. 5 gigahertz on the boost frequency. That's also great. But $500, not to mention what price gouge it's going to be. It's probably going to be closer to $580, maybe $600, maybe even more dollars. And at that point, you're in Threadripper territory, and you have way more PCIe lanes, way more cores, way better memory support for more memory modules, and just what you have at that price point is just way better compared to what the 9900K would be offering. Not to mention the Z390 motherboards. There are some Z370 boards that have better VRMs and better options than some of those Z390 boards. So it's absolutely ridiculous. All right, let me catch up on the chat here. Pikawubs, whoa, what's going on, Pikawubs? How you doing, man? How's school going? Intel Duo is the best, no cap. What is it? Wait, what is it that the 9700, 9600 are missing that the 9900 has? I can't recall them. The 9900 just has more cores and threads, right? So the 9700K has 8, 900K has 16 threads, so it just has hyper-threading, but you're charged $100 more for hyper-threading. Good God. That's ridiculous. More than $100 for just hyper-threading. That makes me hurt a little bit. They're also now soldered and not TIM, right? I mentioned that they're soldered. They're not using thermal paste anymore because of just how ridiculously hot it gets. I do appreciate that. I still don't think they're worth the price that they're asking. I'll give you guys my idea on what price that they should be at. And yeah. Anyways, so if we look over here, look at that. 9900K is $530. This is pre-order, right? And I'm going to go ahead and say this. Every time there is a pre-order, it genuinely, deeply pisses me off. And I mean that in the most sincere way. As a consumer, as a reviewer, there should be no pre-orders. Stop it with the pre-orders. You do not buy products on promises unless you know exactly what you're getting. If it is a car, if you're buying a Ford GT and you literally have to fill out an application to purchase this car, even then, I wouldn't recommend pre-ordering it. But since it's the only way to get the car, you have to do what you got to do in order to get the collectible item that you want. If you're dropping $600,000 on a car, you know, that's your choice. You got the money to burn. But for people who have a lot of, you know, constraints onto what their budget might be, and they have to pre-order these items, that's hardware, and we don't know how it's going to perform and depend on a lot of different variables, there should be absolutely no pre-orders. Pre-orders means pre-profit. Jay's 2 cents said that, and I think it wraps it up perfectly. Pre-profit. We are trying to make money before we even have the product out. You don't know if it's going to be trash. You don't know if it's going to perform the same as Ryzen. We have no idea. We just have a loosely based article that's published by the Intel official newsroom that claims to have benchmarks that aren't even evenly tested with their Ryzen counterparts as some sort of source of information to provide some sort of provide some sort of ground onto what you should be purchasing. And at $530 to pre-order is absolutely ridiculous. Pre-ordering anything that's related in the hardware or tech space, anything. No pre-profits, no pre-orders. All right, now that I said that, $530. This is not MSRP. This is almost $50 more than what the processor is supposed to be, valued at. $50 can buy an extra 8 gigs of RAM, can buy yourself an extra 256 gigabytes of SSD storage. $50 can be a power supply. It could be an AIO. It can be custom cables. It can be put into the motherboard. $50 that is pure inflation on the product and holds no absolute value is absolutely ridiculous. And this is before it's even launched. We don't even know what it's going to be like after it's launched. All right, let me read some comments so I don't get too wrapped up into this. All right, I am not excited with what 9th gen has with 8 cores and 8 threads. I'll stick with the R7 2700X. Exactly. Hyper-threading, what it was. Why would they leave out that on the lower ones? Well, it's just all for the sake of profit, honestly. Andrew, what's going on, man? I pre-ordered No Man's Sky when it was announced, and then look what that turned out to be, right? I mean, I'm not gonna get mad at you for pre-ordering. I'm just saying I don't think companies should be pushing out that. It's on the company to be pushing out pre-orders, and there will be always consumers that buy into it, no matter how ridiculous it might be or what kind of claims they might claim. You know, it's just ridiculous. Was 2080 Ti rushed or no? I honestly don't know if it was rushed. I know the technology's not here. Whatever speed they're trying to gain, I don't know what the 2080 Ti is. It's just a mess. They're not even here. They haven't even been released yet when they were supposed to be released like over a week ago. So that's kind of crazy. Intel knows that pre-orders are in their favor because after people find out the truth, their sales will plummet. LOL. That's also another thing, is pre-orders can buy on the blind eye. People won't know what that performance metric is like. They don't know what they're getting themselves into, and that can definitely be a detriment after they actually find out what the purchase was meant for. I remember when I bought the wrong CPU for my computer, I was mad. I heard Andrew, and I thought you were talking about me. I know, we got several Andrews in here, Peeklewubs. I didn't call you Peeklewubs, unless you want me to call you something else. I wanted to believe the game was good. Yeah, I mean, you know, people want to believe the product is good that they're pre-ordering, but there is no metric. There's no gameplay, right? You don't know anything about the game other than the premise of the game and some of the game mechanics and whatever tutorials that you've been shown or fed through from the company itself. Going to hit the pace. Hey, peace. See you, man. Have a good one. Thanks for being on the stream. Ricardo, pre-order X. Yes, exactly. A big X mark through pre-orders. So yeah, we see this $530. It's supposed to be $488. This is before the sales have even officially begun. So this price is going to go way up. As we can see here on Amazon, $582. So $100 in inflation, and it's temporarily out of stock. Now this is another thing that gets me, right? Because they'll say it's temporarily out of stock. We don't know if it's temporarily out of stock because a lot of people bought it, or that they only provided a very small amount of supply to make it look like it's out of stock, so that they can create some sort of urgency, right? If there's urgency, then people are going to purchase. They're going to keep that in their mind, like, oh man, I saw this was out of stock. If I see this in stock, I got to jump on that. I got to jump on it immediately, right? So you have that sense of urgency that's going to create a feeling that you're never going to get this again. This price is only now. You're only going to get this product if you buy it now and spend the money. It forces you to skip through the logical processes and stages in your mind to actually purchasing the product and skip straight to the end because you have a sense of urgency and you need to compromise on that thought process in order to actually purchase the product. And that is marketing 101, right? You create urgency to sell your products, and that's just absolute garbage. Temporarily out of stock. And you know what? They're actually at a shortage of CPU production, so it's probably a limited supply. There are probably not as many pre-orders as this may make it sound like it is. So that's really, excuse me, something to think about. And plus an extra $100 on the price. My God, that's almost a 16 gig kit of RAM. That is just disgusting. That is absolutely disgusting. All right, I'm gonna read some people in the chat here. I've been watching your videos for about a month now, and I have one question for you. Do you suggest to stick a graphics card in an office PC and make it a gaming PC? Would work for someone new? Jacob, what's going on, man? Thanks for watching the videos. It depends on what's in the office PC, right? If you have a processor with decent clock speeds that can keep up with the GPU that you're putting into it. Also, if you have enough RAM so that you know, the GPU is not getting choked by the RAM and what's being fed to the processor. So as long as you have like 8 gigs of RAM and a processor that's either a dual or quad core CPU that's above 3 gigahertz, and maybe you're putting like a GTX 770 or something like that in there, it's going to keep up just fine and is something that will do great for an office PC. I hope that answers your question. For the price of a 9900K, I could get a good gaming PC with that, at least a 1050. That's talking brand new. If you're talking used, $600, you know, you could be getting, or even $500, you could be getting a very decent PC. I might go for the quad-core Ryzen CPU and 8 gigs of DDR4 RAM. That's also a good way to go. I heart JD Tech. What's going on, man? How you doing? There are also other content creators saying that the product will be sold out on day one, so to check the stores, right? What are we discussing today? Today we're discussing Intel 9th Gen and their tactics on how to sell you on their products before actually buying them, all that sort of stuff. But basically, yes, they will be sold out on day one, right? We're creating this urgency. Again, sold out, out of stock, whatever it is. They're creating urgency. And urgency skips the logical steps in your thought process of purchasing a product, especially when it's $500 freaking dollars, let alone what the actual price is going to be, which is probably going to be closer to $560. Yeah, it's going to create urgency and people are going to be urged to buy because this is never going to come again, right? When it's out of stock, it's never coming back in stock. I remember when RAM was cheap. RIP. Yeah, right. Threadripper 2950X, by the way. That's the way to go, man. I found a Dell Optiplex 745 Core 2 Duo with 4 gigs and 160 gigabyte HDD for $40, about 25 minutes from me. I mean, that's not bad. What Core 2 Duo? Is it like one of those E-series processors that's only like a dual core? But yeah. So yeah, this is getting absolutely ludicrous. All right, so let's talk about where these prices and specs should be if they actually want to compete with Ryzen. Because I can't recommend this to anyone unless they are specifically looking for the most FPS. That's it, right? And at i9 9900K price territory, you're entering the Threadripper territory, which is like now you're getting to 10 cores and 20 threads with the same price of around $500, let alone there are some deals that allow you to pick up a 1950X for close to $500, and Lord knows what that price gouge price is actually going to be at. Right, so if they wanted to be competitive, right, they would charge the 9700K for the same price they're charging for the 9600K. 8 cores, 8 threads. If you want to do that, that's fine. Make it $250. You know, right around here. That would be your 9700K. They want to make the 9900K, 8 cores, 16 threads. Make it $374. Pretty much $100 less. Whether they can actually afford that or not, based on where their wafer design is and everything, I don't know. But we're just talking speculatively if they want to compare with Ryzen. If they wanted to compete with Ryzen. That's what they would have to do, in my opinion. Right? Because the 2700X is $330. Maybe a little bit more. But this is the usual price I see it at, $330. And if you were dropping this 8-core 16 thread for about $40 to $50 more with higher clock frequencies, they would be seriously competing. And I would be like, oh, whoa, Intel means business this time around, okay? They might be trying to get your money, sure, every company is, but now they actually want to compete. They got their head in the game. But they don't. All right, great, it's soldered, it's not Tim, that's fantastic, but there's nothing you can do about this price tag and that the fact that they're only offering 8 cores and 16 threads, not to mention Ryzen's right around the corner for their 3000 series in early 2019, which are going to boast supposedly 7nm architecture along with higher clock speeds and more cores. There might be a 2800X with 10 cores and 20 threads and with a base frequency of 3.7 and a boost up to 4.5. Can you imagine that kind of beast? And for about $500, maybe even less, comparing to a 9900K that has 4 less threads, 2 less cores, and around the same frequency? Absolutely astonishes me. And 7 nanometer, not to mention that process is much smaller than 12 or 4. No, this is 14. This is 14 nanometer, the CPUs. Wow. If they wanted to compete, they would have to make some serious changes to this lineup. All right. I have $0 income, and it is better than the Pentium D I had. Just watch Linus Tech Tips gaming PC for $70. Excuse me. I actually have a gaming PC coming out for $86, and it's a beast. Is an RX 580 for $140 a good deal? Yes, that's a great deal. Also, JD, I need a better case cooling. Any fans under $50 that you recommend? There's plenty. I've covered a couple of them on my channel. Which page are you on? I am on JDTech.com. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. I think it's sad that everyone believes that it costs as much to make chips as those companies lead everyone to believe. It could, it couldn't. I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to claim that it does or doesn't because I am not a reputable source of information, so I'm not going to say it does or doesn't. I tried to look back and watch a video for the Asia Dark Horse fans. They reviewed forever ago, but I went to look for them and they were easy to find. They were easy or weren't easy to find. Like that, by now there is probably a better option. Yeah, there's definitely better options now. That was a while ago. Yeah, $140 for the RX 580 is a great deal. But anyways, what was I saying? What is the best DDR4 RAM for budget builds? Pretty much any DDR4 RAM, whatever's the cheapest, is just going to work fine, honestly. You're not going to notice any real performance or real-world performance differences. You might with Ryzen, but if you're just on a budget, just go with the cheapest thing you can find. You really can't go wrong with it. RAM is RAM, and at that point, if you're just on a budget, you know. Yeah, early 2017 was when you made the vid. Yeah, exactly. So I made that a while ago, so that would have to change. All right, let's look at this. 8350K, $180, 4 cores, 4 threads. This is another joke, the 8350K. Same thing, we'll be going for the 9350K. It'll be around the same price. $180 for a quad core, right? So you can pick up a used i7 for less money with 4 cores, 8 threads, and a higher clock speed and better overclocking. You can pick up you know, a Ryzen 1600 or even a 2600 at times below $180, and they're both overclockable. The fact they're trying to sell this 8350K at $180 with only 4 cores is mind-boggling to me. Here's another ridiculous antic, the 8086K, right? $425 just because it was clocked slightly higher than the 9700K. Exactly the same specs, just clocked a little bit higher. If you're comfortable with overclocking, you basically just create an 8086K. That's the difference, honestly. So, you know, in terms of buying that is another fluke. When people say the 8086K is the best gaming processor, they're not right and they're not wrong. Technically, yes, but the 8700K is just as fast. It's clocked at the same speed, which it can definitely reach the same clock speed most of the time. So, yeah. Noob on console. Oh, wait. Is more than 2400 megahertz RAM just for gaming important, or should I get 3000 megahertz? It depends if you're on Ryzen or not. If you're on Ryzen, I would highly suggest getting the 3000 megahertz kit. Just so you know, it's a NAND tech. Yeah, I've heard people pronounce it several different ways. I mean, yeah. I hear people call Anatech, you know, JDTech, whatever it is. Thanks, my guy. No problem. Can you overclock the Ryzen 1600, not the X version? Absolutely. It doesn't work like the K version on Intel. So, right, you have Ks that are unlocked and you can overclock them. With all the Ryzen CPUs, you can overclock all of them. All the X means is just basically it has a little bit higher boost frequency. Is there a way to donate to you without using Patreon? You could donate through Super Chat if you want. If you don't want to do it through there, you can do it through eBay or the PayPal thing. I don't have my PayPal link up. If you want me to, I can, and I do appreciate that. Horacio, good sound on the microphone you have in the direct. Thanks, man. I try to make this sound as pleasurable for you guys, just so that you know, you keep sticking around. I'm planning to upgrade to Ryzen, so I'll probably get the 3000 megahertz RAM. Yeah, I would go with that. Forgot about the invention of Super Chat. I know, right? Geo, what's going on, man? Glad you're here in the chat. We're just you know, ripping on Intel a little bit. You know, got to give them a little bit of roughness just so that they can actually get their heads in the game. Matt, will you ever build a huge hardline system? I plan to. I really do, because I really want to get into some water cooling, and I find it absolutely fascinating. It's almost like artwork. You know, I won't say, yeah, you're getting your best bang for buck with, you know, custom water cooling. You know, this is for people who are comfortable with it. And people feel like if you start doing water cooling videos that you're just an elitist and that your only recommendation is expensive hardware, and that's not the truth. The truth is you want to cover all sorts of hardware because you have appreciation for all different levels of hardware. You should get Streamlabs for donations. Yes, I should. I keep on meaning to set up Streamlabs. I'm sorry, guys. I haven't set up Streamlabs yet. Use antifreeze, please, JD. Yeah. I would either use antifreeze or just like a colored liquid. I would not use the opaque liquid that creates all that terrible buildup. That's absolutely terrible. PayPal has 0 fees if sent as a gift within the US. Oh, yeah, that's true as well, because YouTube takes out 40 or 30% of the donations, which is a pretty decent chunk. Demon Pig, what's going on, man? What games are you looking forward to, and what do you think of the Xbox Project xCloud and other games streaming like Google Chrome streaming? I think it's a good idea, especially since games have gotten like so massive that just you would honestly just keep needing more and more storage. So having some sort of stream service is really nice. But as far as, you know, just owning it, I don't know. It can go back and forth. I think I have a PayPal link somewhere. Let's see, paypal.me, right? mypaypal.me. If you guys want to donate, you know, I'm not trying to push this or anything. I just know people have wanted to donate and they don't have somewhere to donate, and they don't want to donate through Super Chat because it takes out a decent chunk of money, you know, so I don't blame them. If they want, I will put it in the description here. If you want me to post it in chat, I will. If you want to support and donate through PayPal. Boom. There you go. OMG, that is the worst. That the base Twitch fees for donations / subs. Wow. Yeah, it's pretty bad. My GTX 1066 or SC is making a vacuum noise. What should I do? Please help. I mean, there's a lot of different ways that could be affecting. There could be too much dust buildup in the heatsink, and thus you have like this air pressure thing going on, and it sounds like a vacuum. So I'd try blowing out any dust that's in there. It could be bad fans. It could also, I don't know. That's all I can really think of off the top of my head. I'm sure there's other things as well. If we all donate 10 cents to him we could raise $3,554. That would be great. And then I would probably see you guys in CES. I just got a new lens for my camera, which I dropped $600 on. And there's, some complications with it because it's not meant for my camera. And yeah, that's great, but I don't feel like dropping $700 on the same lens because it's made for a different fit. But that's besides the point. But yeah, I prefer giving directly to someone to give them the most. Yeah, I'm the same way. Like when I support other channels and stuff, I usually go through PayPal because they take the least amount of money, and I want to make sure they get all that money and not like the YouTube platform or the Twitch platform. I don't mind. I've donated to other people on those platforms before, but I feel the best when I donate through them on PayPal because I'm like, yeah, you got all that money. You didn't have like a 60% cut out of it or whatever ridiculous cut of it is. Oh man, I need water. All right, so I'm going to show you guys my new GPUs. They're not new. They're used GPUs, but they're new to me, as in I have never had them before. So let's get them. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom. All right. Got 3 GPUs over here. You guys excited for these? I spend too much money on GPUs, but you know, it is what it is. Now the boxes are not actually the GPUs that are inside of them. They're just placeholders, pretty much. Hold on. Gotta get the wire over the mic, otherwise we're gonna have problems. All right, you guys want to see these? I hope you do, because I'm gonna show you either way. Did you see GamerNext's latest video on Intel's gross incompetence? I was watching part of it. I kind of ran out of time because I had to start the stream, but I plan on finishing the rest of it. Basically, it goes off of what Hardware Unboxed Steve was saying about it earlier. The other Steve, I love those two. I love both Steves. They're great guys. But yeah, we were talking about Intel's incompetence with the publication of official benchmarks from the source that it's ridiculous. Sandgram, hey JD, what's going on, man? How you doing? Thanks for being in the stream. Oh, okay, thanks. I mean, my setup is fairly new, and I have 4 additional fans. GPU is just loud under any game like Fortnite, COD, etc., but not an idle. No dust. Shouldn't sound like a vacuum. So that doesn't make any sense. I would try contacting the company, possibly the RMA department, and asking about it. Used but gold, absolutely. I'm going to show you guys these bad boys. What is Intel thinking? Exactly. I do know that in Twitch, the subscription fee is 50%. Dang, they take 50%. I love that 980 Ti gold you reviewed. Might get one for my second rig. Yeah, I really like the 980 Ti, and the gold has slightly better heat dissipation because it's pure copper, I think, and or something like that. Really good card though. RX 570 for 118, good deal. If it's brand new, yes. If it's used, you can probably get an RX 580 for about like 10 to 20 bucks more. And at that point, I would recommend that. Yes, I would love to see the older GPUs, which I can only dream about. Really? You can get these for pretty cheap. So right in here, this is a 1050 Ti. Okay, so just subtract like 300 from it. Sorry for the loud crinkling noise. And by the way, I have tested all these GPUs yesterday. So this is a 750 Ti, which I will be using in the $86 gaming PC. And I got this for $51. Yeah, $51 for the 750 Ti. This thing was actually pretty nice. I was playing Doom at 1080p high settings at around 52 to 65 FPS, which was pretty surprising. So this thing is actually a little beast, and it's dead quiet. Like even at 100%, this thing is really cool and really quiet. So this is a really nice card all around. You know, this is a great budget card. Okay. Again, sorry for the loud crinkles. Put this one away. The description said he used it for less than 5 hours. which I kind of find sketchy. Used what for less than 5 hours. You got them from eBay? Yeah, I got these from eBay. I buy a lot of GPUs just used because GPUs last for a while. They really do. This is the 290X. This is the 280X. We'll go through the 280X first. Nice deal. Yes, it was. That requires more money, which I rarely have. Yeah, same here, man. Same here. I spend so much money on the YouTube channel. Excuse me. Alright. Okay, so this is not a GTX 580. This is an R9 280X. And I replaced the thermal paste on this bad boy. But look at the size of this card. This thing is a beast. Yeah, there's no backplate or whatever. But I got a pretty decently sized heatsink that overhangs the actual PCB. And it's a triple fan cooler with the VaporX design. And I got this for 80 bucks, which is a pretty decent steal because a lot of these go for like 130 bucks. For some reason, I wouldn't pay over 80 bucks, but this thing does perform pretty well. So we're going to be testing this out pretty soon. We'll have a review up on the channel pretty soon. But the AMD fine wine technology, which pretty much means as these cards age, they become better in performance because the drivers have matured a lot more. Because AMD has made really good cards. They always have. Great computational cards, just the driver support has never really been in their favor. And now that they have, you know, the AMD fine wine technology going on them for the better drivers, this card has turned into a beast. So we'll get into that. We definitely will. I love the size of the card too. Sorry for the loud crinkling. This is the box. This is the GTX 1080. I've never had a GTX 1080, but this is the GPU box of my friend Nick, who was a vet and took his life in PTSD. Not to bring the conversation down or anything, but I just want to show I still, you know, like, I don't know what the right word is. Remember him, hold his name, commemorate him, by keeping this box. So now that it's actually holding a GPU, it makes me pretty happy. Let's read some of the comments before I open up the 290X. Oh, I was talking about the RX 570 description. You said GTX 580. Well, I said if you can pay like 10 to 20 bucks more, you can get an RX 580. Oh, GTX 580. Whoops, not a GTX 580. RX 580, I meant. I like the blue on that card. Yeah, me too. I think the black and blue design is really nice. I wish I saw more cards like that. But now we got RGB, so you can pretty much customize whatever color you want now. That GPU got my mind. Oh, yeah. How about that Windows 10 1809 October update? I installed it without any issues, and it's running great. Well, that's nice. I haven't updated my PC yet. It wants me to, but I'm staying away from it for right now. Just turned on my second rig the other day, and I tried to play Fortnite at 1080p high, and it got like 20 frames per second. I quit the game and found out that I was like 10 graphics card drivers behind. Now I'm like 200 frames. Yeah, so if the drivers are out of date, it's ridiculous how much it depends on the driver for the GPU to actually perform nicely. So yeah, do some Linux gaming. I've actually thought about that because I'm really interested in Linux as well. Linux has gotten a lot more support lately. Linus has shown that as well. What the heck is that? Ugh, I don't even know what that is. I want to smell my hands now. Whoops, sorry. Now we're opening up the R9 290X. Now this is a special card. It's the 290X. This is a beast of a card. Look at this, is a fat heatsink too. This is fatter than the 280X, and it's a triple card cooler as well. This is the Tri-X Toxic R9 290X. These usually go for like $180, sometimes $200, but I got this for $130. So that was pretty nice. And we have two 8-pin connectors over here. So this thing does consume a lot of power. And it is just an absolute beast of a card. It's one of the longest GPUs in history. And as you can see, yeah. And it actually doesn't get too hot. When I was running Furmark, the stress test, it was maxing out at around 75 degrees Celsius, which was no hotter than the GTX 980 Ti. So that's actually pretty nice. That's before I even replaced the thermal paste. I did replace the thermal paste, however, and it was quite dry. But seeing this card perform as well as it did without the new thermal paste was actually quite surprising. And I look forward to benchmarking this for you guys because I'm really excited to see how the drivers and that fine wine technology I've been talking about have affected the gaming performance of this GPU. So this is really cool. I mean, just look at the size of this thing. Like longer than my head, longer than my 1080 Ti, possibly as long as some of the RTX 2080 Ti cards. And the cooler is just a behemoth. It's not super fat or anything. It's still a dual slot card, but still, like, it's still fat. Like, I love a nice fat beefy heatsink. I don't know why. I'm just like, oh, look at those fins. So there's the R9 290X for you guys. A really cool card. So in the last couple of days, I've spent $130 on a GPU, another $80 on a different GPU, another $51 on another GPU, and $600 on camera lens, which all of that goes into the YouTube channel. So now you guys have some sort of idea of what type of effort and money I put into the channel, and know how much it means to me and you guys. I know I'm not spending my money as wisely as I should be. I don't even know if that's the right way of saying that, but that's the way I'm gonna go with it. And yeah. So I don't know if I'm gonna be buying any more GPUs this year. I've been just trying to take advantage of the GPU market and just trying to get my hands on a bunch of GPUs for testing. As in the future, if I ever get contacted by a company to review a GPU, I will need a slate of GPUs to compare them with, so I need to kind of catch up on that. I do not want to be left with trying to purchase a bunch of GPUs at the wrong time. Go full screen to show off your cards. Yeah, I know, but it's too late now. How many cards do you have? I think I have like 7, and I bought all of them. Yeah, I bought all of them. So I don't want to think about how much money that is, because it's gonna make me hurt inside. Let's see. I should make this full screen now. There we go. Yay! Sorry it wasn't full screen, guys. JD likes his graphics cards with girth. Absolutely. I appreciate that you are marking older hardware now. It is a marketing begging for content. Is it a market begging for content? Absolutely. And I'm actually collaborating with Zach's Tech Turf. If you guys know who he is, if you don't, check out his channel. Excuse me. And he's benchmarking older cards as well. And basically, what he's going to be doing is, what we're both going to be doing is just benchmarking different cards, older cards, not this 1080, but the R9 280X and the R9 290X in here. Because when I'm looking for benchmarks of these cards, they're years old and they have different drivers on them and everything. So seeing how these cards perform in the modern day and age is relatively important, because these are still good performing cards and there's always a market for used or older hardware. And I think that should be expanded upon alongside with newer hardware. That's always going to be important. I think that should always be something to look into, no matter how far in advance GPUs get. It's always important to look back on the older hardware and see how it's performing in this day and age. So, yeah. I'll tell you though, these Sapphire cards are some of the biggest cards that I've seen, and I am really excited to benchmark them for you guys and put them in some budget builds as well. as long as there's no hair. Yeah, there's a lot of dust in that 290X that I have to blow out. Any good budget gaming mice and headsets you recommend? I don't know, for headsets, it's hard to recommend headsets. It's just so preferential, along with, excuse me, mice. But I did do a video, excuse me, on a gaming mouse that's like $17 from a while ago that I recommend watching if you haven't seen it already. Let's go into YouTube, and I'll show you. It's like a $17 mouse. Let's see. I'll show you guys right now. $17 mouse. Depends on where you are though. Right here. What makes this the best budget mouse? Pirelli F300. Yeah, this mouse is really good. Pixar 3325 sensors, really nice sensor. $17, RGB lighting, razor-like shape, good build quality, you know, and it has integrated RGB lighting with software control. So it's actually a pretty feature-rich mouse for $17. Waiting, you forgot your, oh wait. Yeah, I came from Zach's channel, waiting for your benchmarking videos. Yeah, man, thanks for coming over here. Zach and I are well acquainted with each other now, and we plan on doing more content to rival each other. So like the GTX 960 here, he's gonna show a video of the 970 that I linked to. He's going to be doing RX 580 review, and then I'll be bouncing off of that with the R9 290X, so you guys can keep jumping in between channels and getting updates on the used hardware market, which is a massive market, and it is a lot to tackle for one YouTube channel. So having multiple YouTube channels tackle it in collaboration, I think, is a great idea. Yeah, I came from JD's channel and subbed to Zach's channel. How could you not, you know? Thanks, I will watch the video. Alright, awesome. Sounds like a good mouse. One suggestion on used GPUs: if you're able to, remove the heatsink and wash it with alcohol and add new thermal interface material. Yes, that's what I said earlier, is that the first thing I did with these cards is actually replace the thermal paste. I actually didn't for the first round of testing. I wanted to see if it worked without me replacing the thermal paste first, and so I did, and it worked out just fine. Thermal paste was old, by the way, and starting to get dry. It was easy to tell that it was dry, but it was pretty nice knowing that the thermal paste came off pretty nicely and wasn't too caked onto there. And I will have to replace some of the thermal pads. So sometimes you have to replace the thermal pads if you're buying used GPUs that are older, like the 290X and 280X. The GTX 750 Ti should be fine. I mean, it doesn't get hot, which is pretty nice. I have to leave the stream. See you later, Dad. All right, man. I'll see you later. Thanks for hopping in the stream. I appreciate it. Sorry, guys. I needed some water. I get pretty thirsty after talking for a while. I had a lot of salt today. I don't know if I did or not. 10:30 p.m. Ease. How real unboxing goes. Okay. So yeah, the big thing today was wait. Hey, I want a PC for streaming games, like the new Blackout coming out soon. How much does it cost? On the US market, if you're trying to play Black Ops, the new one coming out, you probably don't need to be spending more than $400 on a used PC on the US market. Go full screen, dude. I will. I think maybe, I don't know. I'll go full screen if we're not going to talk about Intel anymore, but just so that everyone knows, this is a big mess right here. These Intel chips are going to perform just fine. I know they will. The 9900K will obviously outperform the 2700X due to its higher clock speeds, but the price to performance is going to be less. Oh god, excuse me. JD needs an Elgato Stream Deck for easy switching to full screen. Yeah, perhaps I do need one of those. Excuse me. I don't know if I can use one of those because I'm not very stream savvy, and I still need to learn Streamlabs and all that. Intel's marketing and PR is messed up. Yeah, they are. I tried contacting Intel, right? You know, obviously I don't expect a response back from such a large company, especially working with someone as small as me, but I've seen them working with smaller creators. I don't know if they have primary connections with Intel or it's through some sort of third party. I don't know, but you know, I don't expect to hear back from them anytime soon. And if I want to give out reviews for you guys, it will cost me $600 plus 5, close to $1,100 to give you 3 separate reviews on videos that will probably make me around 12 cents. So, you know, the return on investment obviously isn't for the faint of heart. It's just there that you got to know what you're getting yourself into. So I don't know if I'd be able to provide reviews for these anytime soon. I'd rather spend my money on like a Ryzen 3000 series chip if the specs are true, and you know, providing you guys a review in time for, you know, day 1 launch, and we'll see how that goes. Core i9 is a beast, but they are costly. Exactly. And that's the problem, is that all these CPUs are going to be great. They're going to be great performers, no doubt about it. Just what the price to performance is not going to be anything close to what Ryzen has to offer. And Ryzen offers solid performance. It's not like, oh, here's your value deal, here's your enthusiast product. It's like, well, here's an enthusiast price to performance chip. And then you've got your high tier chip, which doesn't offer price to performance. So you still have enthusiast grade processors that can compete with Intel's supposedly enthusiast CPU, but at a much lower cost, which kind of undermines anything that Intel has to offer at this price tier with the specs that they're giving, unless they were offering something like a 12-core 24-thread CPU at 5 gigahertz. That would be different, but they're not offering that. So I can't recommend it based on these specs alone. So, yeah. Yeah, don't buy the Intel CPUs just for reviews. AMD is better. Well, you know, I'm not going to be biased towards any company. You know, I got to remain neutral towards both. As far as reviews go, man, it's hard. It's hard to try and review an item that costs hundreds and hundreds of dollars, trying to stay relevant in that space so that when you submit your portfolio to a company for review, that they see that you are reviewing current hardware and that you have something to provide in context with that hardware in comparison. And that requires a lot of money and dedication. How about money for food? Yeah, right. I need to start saving that money for food. When will AMD 3000 series come out? Should I wait for those CPUs? I would definitely wait for them because they're supposed to be coming out early 2019, which is only a couple months. So I would wait for those. Even with the newest and best thing coming out, I would still wait for a while. I would still wait for those 3000 series CPUs, just so you know you have an idea of what kind of performance that we have going into 2019, and you'll have a lot of options to choose from, even with new options coming out later that year. So I think that's a good idea. I'm not going to say continue waiting. 3000 series is a good checkpoint. An ultra cheap suggestion for you: use a flat bed sheet. Green for a green screen, and then you can have things like the i9 page up on it and be full screen. Just something I would do, lol. Yeah, that's also a good idea. Green screens aren't really that expensive. You can pick them up for like 20 bucks, honestly. But like I said, my stream game just isn't up there yet. I don't feel deserving of having a green screen just yet. Once I know what I'm doing exactly, that's when I'm going to be really pushing the quality up on here. AMD's price to performance ratio is great. Absolutely. Crazy to think it's almost 2019. I know. That is also quite crazy. And I'm going to try to make it to CES 2019, guys. it's hard to compete because a lot of the bigger YouTubers that go there have teams, or the people that they're bringing, they have laptops, obviously, that can render these videos out quickly and on behalf of a time frame that is going to compete for views. So it makes it difficult as a reviewer that is small time, probably going to be a one-man band, trying to compete with other people in CES 2019. Now, I'm not saying competing as in like, oh, you know, they're a tech channel, I'm a tech channel. I'm talking about like who can push out a video faster, right? Because obviously that one's going to get more views. Obviously the ones with the larger fan base and the larger subscriber count is going to get more views, but you do compete on a sense of time, and I'm just no competition for that. But I would like to go to CES 2019. I'm sure you guys would like to see some coverage from it. I'll see how intriguing I can make it, but you know, it's tough. I will try though. I know this isn't necessarily PC related, but what do you think of the new Google Pixel slate? I haven't looked at it. Someone else asked me this question, and it's perfectly fine. You guys can ask whatever tech questions you want. I'm perfectly fine with that. I did not pay attention to it just because the whole entire Pixel lineup lost my interest after the Google Pixel 2. Good camera, terrible features, just did not excite me. Samsung has always been pushing that boundary along with Honor and a couple other companies. You know, it's funny because Pixel would be competing against Apple, yet following a lot of the trends like the notch and the no headphone jack and stuff like that. Yet there are companies offering great CPUs, 6 gigs of RAM, massive storage capacities, massive batteries, headphone jacks, OLED panels, and 2560 by 1440 screens with like great pixel density and very clear brightness and fantastic camera quality, all for a significant portion less than what some of the top guys are doing. So I found Pixel following the trend of Apple in the regard that they are trying to ask for money with less features every time around with slight improvements. So I don't know. Push quality first, and then all the rest will fall into place. Yeah, I'll definitely push quality. I think audio is the most important thing over anything. But as far as like, you know, like the streams aren't big enough for me to start investing money into it. You know, I've definitely gotten donations on here that have made it definitely worth it, but it's not constant enough for me to start spending money on it, just because I always think of spending money for reviews and other hardware that I can be providing to you guys. So it's all about a budget that I'm still trying to work into things. Dude, I can't stop finding deals. $34 for a 2 terabyte 7200 RPM drive. That's a nice deal. It would be cool to go to CES 2019. It will definitely try to watch your videos. The YouTube notification system is horrible. Really? It's crazy that it's that terrible. Yeah, you know, it's hard for like my videos to get out to viewers just because just the way the YouTube algorithm is working is just not preferential for my channel. I'm not even close to getting an i9, but I'm still interested. Of course, right? Any hardware enthusiast would be excited about the i9, right? I'm excited for the i9. I'm not excited for the price. However, its performance and overclocking ability is going to be fantastic, most likely, based on what the 8th gen Intel chips were capable of. And that's really great. And I really do like that aspect about them. It's just the price that they're asking for is just not going to compete with Ryzen, and Ryzen will keep outperforming in sales like they have for the last couple of quarters compared to Intel, which is pretty crazy to think about now that that's the state of the market. Is the Logitech G402 a good mouse? Yes, it is. To be honest, I prefer the G403. That really comes down to shape and size. I think they're both good mouses or good mice. Budget equals my suggestion for $1 to $2 piece of cloth for a green screen instead of $20 for more. I don't have a bed sheet that's like $1 to $2 or one that I can find for $1 to $2 unless I'm buying used. And I don't know how to feel about buying a used bed sheet. What do you think about Red Gear keyboards? I have not looked at them, so I don't know much to think about them and can't really make any recommendations on them. I use the extra buttons a lot. More don't really care about RGB. Yeah, you know, I would care more about the buttons too. And if you play games, what type? Oh, wait. You know, so all those things are to be taken into account with the new i9 chips. Ryzen 3000 series can definitely be something of a beast awaiting to rise from AMD, because AMD used to be, you know, 1-to-1 with the IPC that Intel had. If their 3000 series is 7 nanometers and you can get a 3700X, that's a 7 nanometer chip with 8 cores and 16 threads, for $350, with a, not even $300, maybe even less, because AMD's always pushing that price further down. With a clock speed of around 3.9 to 4.7 gigahertz, they will easily have 9900K killers all around the place, and it will absolutely stomp on Intel. And Intel would not be making enough revenue from their i9 chips to be competing with the Ryzen 3000 series. So that's something to consider. I didn't get the YouTube stream notification until you were 35 minutes into the stream. Dude, that's crazy. Is it like always on? Or no, you said until 35 minutes into the stream. That's bizarre. Go to any thrift store and wash it. Every bit of clothes you wear are used. LOL. Yeah, but used by other people. That's a different thing. I don't mind used clothes, but like used bed sheets, that kind of grosses me out. Even washing it. I mean, it's not a huge deal. I don't mind spending $20 for the green screen. All I'm saying is that I need to become more stream savvy before I start investing, which doesn't take long. But, you know, it will take time to set these things up is all I'm really trying to say. For FPS games, it's easier to lift the mouse if it's lighter. But any other games, the weight probably won't matter. I always prefer a lighter mouse. I'm just quicker with it, and I like it better. I feel more accurate as well. I do play Battlefield 1 a lot. I've been using a SteelSeries Rival 600 a lot, which is a very light mouse. I've been really enjoying it. G502 is really nice. Is the i9 really meant as a consumer processor? I mean, they're trying to sell it as such, right? So they haven't had i9s before, except with the 7980XE and that whole entire lineup. They had their i9s. But now it looks like they're trying to push it, into the consumer market, because they're now grouping it with the 9600K and the 9700K. Which speaks on behalf that they're trying to push this into the consumer market. Yes, whether it's probably enthusiast grade consumer market, but it's still within the realm of the consumer market. The 9700K has always been their flagship, and pushing that envelope into how much they can charge for the consumer market desktop processor, and now they're pushing it even further with the 9900K. It always seems like they're trying to push the price higher, while AMD's trying to push the price lower. So, yeah, that's honestly how I feel about that. If you do not trust your washing machine to clean things, then why not always wear only one brand of new clothes? That doesn't make sense. I will be honest with you. I do trust my washing machine to clean things. That's not the point I'm trying to convey. The point is that I would rather just spend the money on the green screen rather than trying to find a green sheet for $1 to $2 at a thrift store. It's something specific as well. But yeah, why not only wear brand new clothes? I do trust the washing machine. It's not the argument I'm trying to convey. I wear clothes all the time. That's just how it is. And they're used. I just don't feel like buying a bed sheet from a thrift store. I'd rather just spend the money on, you know, and let someone less fortunate than I am that only has the money to spend $1 to $2 on a bed sheet purchase that instead of me going out and trying to find a deal. So, can you suggest me a cheap mechanical keyboard? No need for RGB. Man, there are so many out there. I can't name one off the top of my head, but there are a lot. Hey man, another YouTuber said that the i9 has nothing special in it, that it's just a clock speed increase. Is Intel crazy or something? Don't they respect us anymore? Well, they definitely have a point, because the i9 is not really special, since we already have 8-core 16-thread CPUs at around 4 something gigahertz. So yeah, what are they offering really? They're just offering and boasting their higher clock speeds. They're also soldered as well. They don't have 2 groups of cores glued onto the same processor. It's all one stack of cores. So, you know, there's that. So they don't rely so much on the caching frequency and the RAM frequency, pretty much is what I'm trying to say. Do they respect us anymore? I don't know. I honestly don't know. Also, what type of keys? What do you mean by that? I wear clothes all the time. JD 2018. Yeah, exactly. I wear clothes all the time, so I know how it feels. Red Dragon mechanical keyboards are B's for the price. Yep, they definitely are. It's pronounced Sadurd. Bye, JD. I gotta go. It was a lit stream. Thanks, man. Glad you're here. You know, probably gonna do more Twitch streams throughout the week. Supposedly you're supposed to get hit by another hurricane. I doubt that. Every time it tries to hit where I live, it dies before it gets here. So, you know, knock on wood, I guess. There it is. Knocked on wood. It's not going to hit us. So I'm not worried about it. So we'll be having Twitch streams regardless. But yeah. So I'm probably going to wrap it up for the night. I do appreciate you guys coming out here. I'll finish up whatever's in chat here. I'm just typing to occupy the bottom of the text chat, so it looks like you have more viewers. It's Uncle Baba B. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Did you just hop into the stream? I feel like you have, because it's the first time I've seen you in here. I know, sad face. You should be in here more often. I love talking with all you guys. I really do. It's been a lot of fun. Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate the donation, Sangram. I don't know what currency that is, but it looks great. Thanks, dude. I appreciate that. Not normally here. I'll drop by. Yeah, man. Whenever you got the time. You know, I just try to hang out with everyone. The hurricane will not pass over me here in North Carolina, but I do feel for those in the panhandle of Flatlandia. I know, right? I was just there over the summer. Yeah, that was interesting. Actually, before I go, do any of you watch Stranger Things? Because I watched Stranger Things this weekend, and it was absolutely fantastic. Let me know before I close the stream, and then I'll show you guys something, and then I'll wrap up the stream. Thanks, JD. Thanks for being here, Gio. I do appreciate it. Thanks for the stream and all the advice. Hey, man, thanks for being here, Tom. Good night, amigo. Thank you for being here, Jorge. Indian rupees? I have no idea. Real quick, would you recommend getting a 1070 over a Vega even if I have a FreeSync monitor? Yeah, I mean, 1070 just has much better support right now than Vega will. Maybe in a couple of years, Vega will have better support than the 1070. It's just so wishy-washy. 1070 will just give you more consistent performance than the Vega cards, which is just really, really difficult. Yes, Indian rupees. Well, thank you, man. I do really appreciate that. Show it, though. I watch no TV at all. LOL. All right, so you guys probably know the Stranger Themes theme song. All right. I'll just play it really quick. Stranger Things theme song. I don't know if this is going to be copyright or whatever. But anyways. It sounds like this. Yeah, the doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Just really cool, right? So I actually made a remix from the ground up on my computer with the same same stuff, I guess. I'll just show you guys it really quick if you guys want to listen to it. You know, my music might be terrible, but I tried making a remix of it. Have you seen the new Star Trek Discovery? I have not. I am watching it at the minute, not seeing Stranger Things. You should watch Stranger Things. It's pretty good. Waiting for Flash season 5. I've heard people really like that. Insta copyright strike. RIP. This user has been copyright banned. Don't watch TV. Press F to pay respects for the channel. I don't even know if you guys are kidding right now or not. Anyways, here we go. It should sound like the theme song. No, you're good. All right, cool. I'm good. I'm good, guys. Thank you. Or is he? Whoa. Here we go, guys. Dun 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 dun. This is legit. You guys ready? Yep, so that's kind of my own little rendition of it. It's been a lot of fun. I think I'll post it somewhere on Twitter, like the full remix that I made. But yeah, I just kind of want to show you guys that because I was like on a total Stranger Things binge this entire week. No audio. I didn't hear anything yet. Oh, that's unfortunate. You know what? I think I know why. It uses a different driver. Here it is over here. All right, I'll show you guys now. Don't hear anything. All I see is JD getting hyped over his AC in the background. The sound of silence. I'm like, oh yeah, here it goes. And it's just like, uh-huh. Oh yeah. That's good stuff right there. All right, this time for real. Stranger Things. Got the dun-dun-duns. You guys should be hearing it now, right? The Stranger Things theme song. Hey now. So yes, I made this from the ground up. Just saying. Alright, you guys can hear it. Awesome. Makes me so happy. Wow, sounds great. Sounds really cool. Thanks, guys. Round up. What's up, Mr. Clyburn? What's up, man? So yeah, that's except for the fact that I can barely hear you. Yeah, it's probably pretty loud over my own voice. But yeah, I worked on that all weekend. I was just kind of taking a little siesta from YouTube this weekend, and I was just trying to catch up, you know, with enjoying myself for a little bit. And I'm also field testing this chair, so I watched 2 seasons of Stranger Things in this chair. You know, I got to test it out for the review officially. I hear music. Yeah, I can't hardly hear you talking. That's okay. I don't sound great anyways. Sick beat. Thank you, Mr. Clyburn. Sing a song. I don't sing. I'm terrible at singing, but I can make some beats on FL Studio. So yeah, sounds nice. Thanks, man. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it because like I've been trying to get people's like opinions on how it sounds. My girlfriend thought that I just took the Stranger Things theme song and then just added a couple of things to it, and I was like, no, I actually made the entire thing from the ground up. And she's like, what? So I was pretty surprised by them. I wish they would add time ran to GPUs like hard drives have had for a long time now. Yeah, that would be great. That would be really neat to see. So that should really go for any piece of hardware, I think. If they had some sort of firmware built in that can record the time that they've been used or let on for, some sort of statistical data would be really nice to have some sort of metric as to what the life expectancy is. But a lot of these things can last for a really long time. You can add your own music to your videos. You should make an intro theme song for the tech show, for the live stream. That's a good idea. I don't know which one I would use. That would be a good one though, like the Stranger Things like remix. If we just had like, it's just like my intro, and then it's just like, whoa, just floating through space, man, and it just gets all crazy. Yeah, so that was heavily inspired by a lot of 80s synthwave and all that sort of stuff. I like how we went from like Intel to like some sort of music discussion. I agree, especially for motherboards and GPUs. Yeah, that would be helpful. You know, a lot of these things can last a while, but just having some sort of peace of mind, knowing how long they've been ran for, you know, with your Batman voice. Welcome to Tech Talk. What is this? $99.90 on 100K for $530. Alright, listen. I might be a billionaire. But that's a lot of money. And I don't want to spend that kind of money when I can buy a perfectly fine Ryzen 2700X at 3.7 gigahertz, 4.3 gigahertz boost for $330. It's just not worth it. Have you seen Venom yet? I have not. I keep on hearing people going back and forth like it's terrible, it's good, it's terrible, it's good. I'm just gonna wait till it comes out in Blu-ray, just because I have no money right now. So we'll wait. We'll see how it is. I'm sure I'll enjoy it. It'll just not be like as good as the trailers made it out to be, because I was really excited from the trailers, and then there wasn't a lot of what the trailers had in the actual movie, and Tom Hardy said they left out a lot of the best parts, which is kind of unfortunate to say. But yeah, guys, I'm gonna wrap up the stream. Thank you for coming in. We'll meet again next Tuesday at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we'll have Twitch live streams at night around random times during the week. So if you're in the Discord, I'll let you guys know if I'm streaming on Twitch, or if you're on Twitch around 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'll probably be on there as well. Batman. Good game. Bye. Love you. Thanks, Uncle Bobby B. I try to know. Bye-bye. All right, guys. Thank you for being here. I'll catch you guys next time. I know, Mr. Clyburn, you got in here late. It's 5 a.m. now. Should I probably get some sleep? No, it's too late. You have to stick to it. Just stay up all night now. I know, Mr. Clyburn, you always come in here late. I feel bad. I'm like, all right, I'm going to wrap up. Oh, man, you're just in here. I would just keep the stream going just for you, man. Have a great night, everyone. Thank you, Desmond. Thank you very much. I'll catch you guys next Tuesday. Should have a new video out either tomorrow or Thursday. But yeah, I'll keep you guys posted. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Oh, whoops. I have to stop streaming first. I try to hit the X button. That's not what you're supposed to do.